Hi, everybody. My name's Andrea LaPlante. I'm a national marketing director with the Juice Plus company. I'm also a certified health coach with the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute. And we come together every so often to share important topics on health and wellness. And we're so passionate about this. We're really excited. I wanted to introduce you to one of my colleagues, Nancy, and she's a holistic health consultant, the co-founder of Live the Right Way with her son, John. Nancy's love for true health and disease prevention has led her to educating people to empower their own health and well-being, overcoming an autoimmune disease, anxiety, and depression through healing prayer. Her quest for optimum health led her to a plant-based diet lifestyle. She wants to share passion for healthy living with others so their lives are filled with joy, health, and wellness. Nancy holds a BA in psychology, is a certified Life Force Raw vegan living foods health educator, a graduate of Hallelujah Acres lifestyle program, and a certified health coach, health consultant as well. So the way the format of the call is going to go, I'm going to hand it over to Nancy, let her share her story, and then we'll just go back and forth with some information on one of our slides. So take it away, Nancy.
All right, thank you. So I guess I'll just start with, I've always been interested in health and nutrition. I studied nutrition a little bit in college, and then, kind of just followed somewhat of a vegetarian diet off and on for many years. And when I met my husband in the 80s, we were talking about this today, going to a family dinner at his house. His brother-in-law made fun of me because he said I only ate twigs and branches, twigs and leaves. So, and I said, wow, I can't believe I was really eating pretty plant-based back then. But I went back and forth for a long time. And then, like you read, I was sick for about 5 years with so many different issues. And, I couldn't even get out of my bed. My husband had to help me out of bed in the morning. And eventually, so I was healed through healing prayer at my church and just knew I had to get myself back in good shape. So through really getting back on a plant-based diet and trying to eat well, exercise, I really started to, it was just amazing how well I felt. I started running with my sister Lori, and we've run many races since. And then I, eventually, after working for many years in the nonprofit field, I really wanted to follow my passion. So I got, retired from there in 2015 and went on to start my business with my son, whose background is in, he's a athletic trainer, his background. And so we've just kind of paired together and put our skills together to come up with the Live Right Way. And one of the things that I really, try to teach my clients is to follow a whole food plant-based diet. And that's really our focus. And when I was introduced to Juice Plus several years ago, I really didn't know what it was. And I really thought it was another supplement, just another vitamin, and I really wasn't interested. And then again, talking with my sister Lori, who's my sponsor in the business, talking about Juice Plus, and it was really hard for me to grasp that what it is a whole food, plant-based product. It's raw, picked ripe on the vine. It's everything that I teach my clients on how they should eat and with proper nutrition. So finally the light bulb went on and it clicked with me. And I started in the business a few years ago and promote that with my clients. And I just have to say, I mean, we've very rarely are sick in our house. Everyone feels great. Everyone always talks about how their hair grows so fast, their nails grow so fast, they have so much energy. And even with my clients, I've had people who have had many allergies to different foods, and now they've discovered that the allergies are gone. So there's just so many different health benefits that I've seen with my clients. So I really have found, that Juice Plus is a pretty powerful food. So I'm really interested in sharing it with others.
I love your story. And I love that you work with your son. That'd be a dream of mine to be able to work with my kids, educating them now. So maybe you never know. So what I'm going to do is pull up some slides, start sharing some of the education, And I'll share my story as we go along. Um, I'm just going to pull this up here so everybody can see the images. Lynn, give me a thumbs up if you can see the image here. Okay, great. I just like to make sure. So basically, it's just such an honor to be able to work with colleagues in the wellness industry. And we come together, and hearing Nancy's story just reminds me a lot. I'm a health coach, and I've had people ask me to put programs together for them for what they to eat well. And what I found is people just weren't getting the plant-based nutrition in their diet every day. Even if you recommend you go to the store and you pick out certain plants and get this variety, and it's the piece of it is getting them to actually eat it every day. So, and we can get into it a little bit more, but first we like to talk about why we are unhealthy. Why did Nancy suffer from autoimmune? And you can read the slides here, but what really stuck with me, and we all know the standard of American diet is sad. It is high inflammatory food, processed foods, and drinks. And it's really affecting not only our environment, but it's affecting human health to the point where, if you look at the statistics here, it's just overwhelming. But what really hit me as a mom, I have 3 kids. Our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. And that really resonated with me. And I thought, you know what? I want to be part of the solution. That is unacceptable, to be able to live in a society where our children are not going to outlive their parents. It just woke me up, in addition to a personal story that happened in my own family. But when we look at why people are so ill, one of them, and we all know environmental toxins are increasing, and it's not to be doom and gloom, but we need to know where we are. So we need to know where we're going to go and how to fix it. But our earth is really taking a hit everywhere. We have plastics, we have contaminants in the soil, on our food and our water. We have distribution channels. We have our world has evolved. Technologically, we've advanced as a society, but our health has really taken a hit, and so is our nutritional content and produce. And you can look at all the examples of the things over the counter drugs, hair products, things you put in your hair, your skin, everything that you eat. There's just contaminants all over, and our body has to work really hard to detox that on a regular basis. So not only is the food toxicity rising, but the quality of our food is decreasing at the same time. You can read all the things you look in the supermarket. And if you think about the way our supermarkets looked, well, in our grandparents' age, a lot of people had farms and they were trading food, and things advanced. And now we have a lot of packaged foods, and there's a lot of preservatives and things that are keeping it on the shelf in a box that our body takes a long time to break down, and things that are chemical and stimulants in our body that our body just can't manage on a regular basis. So we need to continue to detox and get that out. But when you think about how broccoli loses 50 to 80% of its nutrients before you purchase it, there's a reason why. There's a distribution channel there, and we'll get into that in a minute. But there's so many things we can do to be healthier, which is what our community is all about, and which we're so excited to share. Obviously, exercise, drinking water, sleeping to 7 to 8 hours a night, using safer products, managing stress. And we're going to talk about the eating real food part tonight. And the fact that fruits and vegetables can actually reverse 75% of chronic disease just by diet and lifestyle. And there's something that we like to talk about, which is oxidative stress. And when we see that slide with all the environmental toxins, it triggers something in our body, a reaction, which is there are free radicals in our body that start attacking our DNA. It's just stress on our body, and stress can come in different forms. It could be physical stress, athlete-induced oxidative stress. It could be just stress of life. I mean, who isn't stressed right now? Our kids are stressed. Our kids are so stressed right now, and our engines are burning and running overtime. Lack of nutrition, lack of getting enough water, lack of getting enough sleep. All of those things cause our body to have more free radical damage attacking our DNA. So when we look at the apple and we see the white fleshy part, and the lemon, it's just squeezing that antioxidant on the white fleshy part, keeps it young and disease-free as long as possible. Where if you don't have the antioxidant on the apple, it starts turning brown, aging, and decaying. And who wants that on the inside, right? That's what happens on the inside of our body when we take in oxygen, and all of these things that are affecting our oxidation and our stress levels cause more free radical damage to our body. So the one way that we can prevent that, and the only way, is through antioxidants, which is found in raw fruits and vegetables, which is why Nancy has been promoting eating as many fruits and vegetables to all her clients and has been eating this way. And this has been her lifestyle because she understands that that's a way to help prevent disease and keep our free radicals at bay. So the news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's that they're so good for you that they may save your life. And I remember going to the store with my son when he was a little guy, and he was looking at all the green bananas, and he was like, well, what's up with this? And it's like, okay, they will turn yellow. But what he said to me is, oh, well, they'll just get, better as they turn yellow. And that's actually not the case. It's when our food is picked before it's ripe, it doesn't have a chance to get its nutritional um, to the nutritional peak. So a lot of the produce that's in our supermarkets has been picked before it's allowed to reach its nutritional density. It's picked, it's shipped, it's processed, it has contaminants on it or things on it, or it's injected so that it can sit on a shelf and look really pretty. And if you notice, there's not a lot of produce that has bruises and bumps and all of that. They want it to look good on a shelf, and you put it in your car, you bring it home, it sits on your counter, it goes in your fridge. And how long has it been in that supermarket? I read an article where an apple could be, in a box somewhere up to close to a year before it actually gets out on a shelf. So when you think about nutritional quality, it's not even reaching its nutritional peak before it's already starting to decay. So when we talk about our broccoli losing 50 to 80% of its nutritional value, it's nobody's fault. It's just the way society has evolved. So it's just picked before it's developed and it's transported. And then we're not getting enough of the variety. And we live in New England. Most of the people in New England are eating seasonal. There's not a lot of watermelons in season or nice juicy peaches and plums. So we typically eat the same thing. And then as the seasons evolve, we'll typically eat the same of that, right? So we're not getting that full range of variety. And multivitamin versus whole food. So 70% of Americans try to fill the gaps with a multivitamin. And, that might have been a good concept at the time, thinking, well, if we have a nutritional deficiency, let's figure out how we can help people. But what we've realized, if you eat the apple, you have over 10 to 12,000 phytonutrients in that one apple. Wouldn't you want to get all those 12,000 vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, and antioxidants in the apple? Or would you want a chemist in a lab to pick out only the top 6 and put it in a petri dish with some other vitamins and minerals from different food and concoct that in a lab? That's really not how the body works. And you really don't want to mess with nature. And those vitamins have a supplement facts label. So this is really where my story comes in. I'm a mom of 3 kids. We're a high energy athletic family. And I thought I was doing the right thing when my pediatrician said your children should be eating vitamins. And they never really made sense to me. I never had them myself. They didn't sit well with me, but I listened to my pediatrician and we added vitamins. And my middle child actually overdosed on vitamins, just vitamins that you pick up off a shelf. My 5-year-old didn't get the cap on. You hear these stories, right? I just had no idea that a child or a person could die or overdose from an isolated vitamin supplement. I didn't even think it was possible. I had no idea. And part of it was, well, why would a pediatrician be recommending a vitamin if it could become toxic? Just even though I'm their mom, it happened on my watch. I'm reading the label, and the label says poison control number, warning label, and had a child safety lock on it. And I was giving that to them. So that was a huge wake up call for me. I can't even begin to explain how I felt when I realized that that happened on my watch. And I'm really lucky he's okay. But in 2008, over 51,000 calls were made to poison control centers for vitamin overdoses, and some of those were fatalities, and that could have been my son. So I feel like I dodged a huge bullet, but I also feel like that happened to me so that maybe I can share and help others so they have the same education now. Because after that happened, I was really angry and I became a mom on a mission. I grew up with my mother, who was a nurse, always talked about prevention. We were always talking about eating well. If you wanted a snack, go grab an orange. So I felt like I had a good understanding. But when that happened to my son, I realized there was a big disconnect, and I was missing a huge educational component. And I started doing my homework. I took, there were no vitamins in the house. I was trying to get my kids to eat raw fruits, vegetables, and berries, just like this. But I was sneaking them into the food because they weren't eating them raw. I couldn't get them to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, half a plate of raw vegetables. And I felt overwhelmed and that I wasn't getting it done, and they would have a nutritional deficiency. So one day I walked into my gym and this is what I saw. I thought, are you kidding me? This is a nutrition label, a salad bar and a capsule and a chewable. It's been around in a company for, at the time, it was around about 40 years. The 20 years, the company was 40. And I thought, why hasn't anyone talked about this? It's a salad bar and a capsule. And then I started looking in. There was no child safety lock, no poison control number, no warning label. It could open the top. It could open those powders, pour them right into my kids' hands. And they could eat them. They could eat as many chews. They would know. No, it was just food, just like nature intended. All of the colors of the rainbow, grown ethically and sustainably, allowed to ripen on the vine. So here I am, trying to get my kids to eat all this raw produce, and it wasn't happening. But when I saw this, I realized this is our nutritional seatbelt. So if they want to have their apple and their orange and their banana, and then one doesn't like the pineapple, but the other one will eat the strawberries, I no longer had to stress as a mother because they were getting the color of the rainbow 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And this is what I saw. I saw whole food, and I started researching how is this grown. And what I learned was everything is thrown in raw and everything's pulverized whole. So that pineapple with the crown, that goes in there. The entire beet with the leaves and the stalks, that goes in there. The broccoli with the stem and the leaves, that goes in there. The whole orange peel. And that's where all the bioflavonoids are. They're in the peels, the skins, the seeds. And my family was now being nourished. So just to even share a little bit, grown up an athlete, married an athlete, and my kids thinking, we're fit family, but nutritionally we're missing the mark until we started adding this nutrition to our diet. Before we added it to our diet, it was colds, flus, eczema, molluscum. My daughter would get strep at least once a year. And my son, the one who overdosed before that, he had tubes in his ears. And I remember saying to the doctor, this just doesn't feel right. We seemed to be a revolving door at the pediatrician's office, and it was $30 copay every time I went in with each child. And they were always having some type of issue until we started adding whole food and getting it into their system and nourishing them. I am a proud mama that can say it's been 10 years. They've had well checks for 10 years, my family of 5, no antibiotics and co-pays or over-the-counter meds. I will say my daughter's a freshman in college, and this is the first year in 10 years where she came home and she was sick for the first time in 10 years. And she's been preloading with this nutrition, and she knows what to do, and she's been doubling up on her Juice Plus, and she was able to recover. So it was absolutely one of the best things we've ever done from a nutritional standpoint. We have a vegan omega, which will blow you away if you are sustainability. If you value sustainability, but again, the plant-based nutrition instead of a fish oil, you're getting a vegan omega, full spectrum, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. This is like anti-inflammatory in a bottle. Everything's cold pressed seeds, incredibly nutritious berries, and our oil from the algal oil is what we grow. We grow it in our own restricted areas, so you don't have to worry about microplastics or contaminants in the ocean. And we're keeping the oceans and our marine life safe because it takes actually, for 1 ounce of fish oil, it's 5 pounds of fish. So we can completely bypass the fish altogether with contaminants and not worry about that. We grow our own, and we use a vegan source, which is absolutely amazing. We have a nutritional beverage, which is vegan, and my family has this every day for breakfast, and we make protein balls for my athletes growing up, and we'll make some protein balls. They'll be gone in an hour, but they're getting prebiotic fiber. They're getting spirulina, which is a seaweed from the Kona region of Hawaii. They're a vegan source of vitamin D. They're having this beautiful array of plant-based protein, which the fiber, it's fiber, getting more plants that have been tested to make sure that they don't have any contaminants on them, just more ways to stabilize blood sugar. and provide protein for them. So it's food. It's not a multivitamin, which is was the answer to my prayers. Food label, non-GMO, vegan, kosher, gluten and dairy free. The part that I loved was the NSF certification, because when I started doing some research and realizing that a lot of things that are on shelves in stores, they're not really approved. You can have something in the label and something that's completely different in the bottle. A lot of research I've done on some things for athletes and different protein powders and things that are on shelves. They can have things in there like glass, and you could also have things that alter the blood or could cause someone to lose a scholarship or not be able to play at a high level. And you have things that are banned. And so you really need to make sure that what you're putting in your body is clean and safe. And we have a third-party company that comes and tests for contaminants, herbicides, pesticides, molds, mildews, heavy metals, to make sure that it's clean and safe. And what I love about this is if you're a baby, it's 6 months old, all the way to elderly in a feeding tube, the highest Olympic athlete. It's just food. It's the most researched nutritional in the world. You can read up here on what it's been proven to do. But I mean, when you think about right now with inflammatory response and immune system and what's going on in the world, what this can do to protect our DNA, reduce the oxidative stress, it's absorbed by the body, which is huge, because you want to make sure what you put in your body is actually absorbed. Unlike a multivitamin where you're either paying a lot of money for the vitamin or could be expensive urine, this is actually being absorbed at a cellular level, and it's taking care of every organ at a cellular level so that we work at our body knows what to do with the food and works at its best. And I love Dr. Du Bois, who says there's nothing else available any place in the world with or without a prescription that has been clinically proven to do what Juice Plus has been proven to do. We also have an amazing program for Healthy Starts for Families, where if an adult orders, you can get free nutritional for a child for 4 years. So when I started, it was music to my ears. I sponsored my daughter, my husband sponsored my son, and my parents sponsored my third child. But we went from a family who was, had colds and flus and different things going on. All of these things happened in my home. We started drinking more water. That's really what we have to drink, is water in our home. But it was no more over the counter meds. It was fewer doctor's visits. So it's now only well visits. And my kids actually say, Mom, I'm so grateful to you for keeping us healthy. And they have really big athletic goals, and they've had some injuries, some pretty drastic injuries, and we've been able to cut their recovery time in half. So that is huge when you talk about recovery. Recovery dictates performance. So that's been great for our family. And then we have a tower garden where you can grow your own produce, which is amazing. I have 2 in my house. I grow my greens to throw in my smoothie and grow my own celery so I can juice that. But it's just sustainability at its best. There's no distribution channel. It's alive until you eat it. It doesn't take up space in the fridge. It's been studied by NASA. It's 98% less water. I mean, you could go on and on about how amazing this growing system is. And we have 2 different versions. So we're really proud of this too, because we're just getting more plants into people. So I love talking about the price, and I'll just stop the share here, and then Nancy, we can regroup with you. But I love how, I can get my family on this nutrition for less than a cup of Starbucks coffee, and I get a child for free. When you think about what one organic apple costs at the store, and you're paying, $2 for 30 plants, and you get a child for free. To me, it was such a no-brainer. And having the color of the rainbow every day that gets into your bloodstream, that nutritional seatbelt, it's been such a gift to me that I just felt like I had to shout it off the rooftops, and it became a mission, a wellness mission for myself. And I just think people deserve to know. It's just it's such an easy way to comply. It's such a simple but yet powerful solution. So I'm going to hand it back to you if you want to share any other points. And just thank you for hearing my story and letting me share a little bit about why we love this nutrition so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrea. You really do a great job just describing everything about Juice Plus. It's just amazing, I have to say. Yeah, and your story is amazing. It's unbelievable to think that kids can overdose on vitamins that doctors are prescribing to families, and they're not even getting the nutrition. So,
Just such a wake up call. It was for me. That was like someone hit me over the head, and I grew up with my mother who was a nurse and always talked about prevention was ahead of her time. But there, she says to me, as much as I was progressive in my nursing, there was no nutrition in medical school or nursing school, and the nurses typically, from her experience, ate the worst because they were taking care of everybody else and there wasn't enough time to eat.
right.
So, but she was very forward thinking with trying to eat well, and that's how she grew up. So, but no, hearing her say there was no nutrition in medical school and nursing school, it was like that was the disconnect.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I know, that's amazing. So, yeah, this is just, I think, a wonderful way to get raw fruits and vegetables, colors of the rainbow, into your body. It's so important and it's so easy. And I know at our house, we set it on our table every night so that we have it right in front of us. We use the complete protein powder for everything that you described there. And what I love about that too is the amount of, plants you're getting just in that one scoop of protein powder, but it mixes well just in a shaker cup with water. It's delicious. So you don't have to, mask the taste with anything. It's good just by itself.
I agree. Especially it's healthy fast food, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
especially too for the recovery piece for athletes, if you have young athletes. My daughter had a severe accident where she's an equestrian, and her horse kicked her and severed her arm, so her arm was sticking out of her,
Oh,
just broke in half. And she had a short window to try and get an offer from a college, which was her dream she'd been trying to do since she was 5. And the doctor said, you won't even be riding her on a horse for at least a year. And she just, nope, that can't happen. I only have 6 months. I have only 6 months. I have to get back on. And we were able to cut her healing time in half. We increased all our Juice Plus, her smoothies. We brought salads to the hospital. And nutrition can just speed up that recovery process. Same thing happened with my son with his broken foot. And the doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. I can't believe how fast his foot is healed. So when you think about what it's doing at a cellular level, healing the body and allowing the body to heal, just as all aspects, whether it's reducing inflammation and disease or if it's a recovery from an injury.
right. And it's the nutrition that you couldn't possibly eat in a day. So the amount of nutrition and plants that you're consuming is just amazing, especially at a time when people may be sick or you're busy or you're on the run and or like Laurie always said, you tend to eat the same food a lot. So you're not getting the variety in your diet that you really need from the rainbow. So
Right.
it's great nutrition.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I want to respect your time. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, or if you want to reach out to Nancy too and ask her anything, feel free to do that. But we appreciate you all joining us. And Aaron, again, thanks so much. It's nice to see you from Alaska.
Yeah, Aaron, great to see you. I'll be in touch. And then I see Tiffany and John are on there too.
We're here.
Yay.
Thank you.
Well, have a great evening, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording.